Okay guys, thanks for joining me. Tonight, here's what's cooking. I came home with no dinner plan, as happens way more often than I would really like to admit. So I've got to put something together. So here's what I'm putting together. It's going to be, as most of my things are, a one-pot meal. Super simple, but I think we're going to get some great flavors and some delicious stuff. So let's see what we got going on here. We're starting over here with a pound of grass-fed beef. So we'll be sauteing that in the Instant Pot in a little bit of avocado oil. And then we're going to saute some onions. We've got some celery, some bell pepper, and some carrots, and then a whole bunch of red cabbage. I probably will only use about a third of that as my guess. We're going to use a can of tomatoes diced and a can of tomato sauce, both of which are sugar-free. And then for seasoning, we're using chili powder, cumin, salt, and pepper to taste after we're actually all cooked up. So let's get started. We're going to start by putting some avocado oil in the Instant Pot, which has already been preheating. Don't need a whole lot of it because there's some, maybe about a tablespoon and a half or so, because there is some fat in the beef, although this is pretty lean ground beef that I bought. Let's see if I can do this without touching it. Yes. Good job. And then we're going to get busy browning the ground beef. Now, when I was growing up, I don't know why. I should really look this up and see if it's a real thing or just what my mother always said. But my mother would tell me to riddle up the ground beef. So, breaking up the pieces, letting it start to brown. That's the definition of riddling up in my household, at least. I don't know about yours. Now, you've been watching me for a while. You already know that I am really about making food fresh, making food as healthy as I can, eliminating all of those things like, prepackaged stuff, preservatives, all that kind of stuff. So basically, what I'm going for here this evening would be what some people would call a typical chili recipe. The difference here is that I'm not using any beans, and I'm not using, what else am I not using? I don't know. Mostly I'm not using beans, I guess. But I am using the red cabbage to get some more vegetables in. And I'll be using typical chili type seasonings to get the flavoring that I'm looking for. So this is going to take just a couple of minutes to come together here. And the reason I started doing this is I've noticed that a lot of people seem to think that cooking from scratch is pretty difficult to do. And I'm here to show you it's not. Even on a late afternoon, evening, when I came home without a dinner plan, I just started looking around for what was in the refrigerator already. And this is what I had, so I'm going to turn it into something that I'm hoping will be delicious. We'll see. I have faith. So the beef's about halfway brown right now. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the onions to let them start to get translucent. I don't want to put in all of the vegetables at once because that could be too much to let the ground beef brown adequately. So I'm just picking out most of my onions here. I'm not going to get them all, I guess. And we'll put those in and stir them up. Oh, and I forgot one other seasoning I do want to use is garlic. And once again, I'm out of fresh garlic, so I'll be turning to the granulated kind. So I'm going to let this keep going here. Let me get that garlic. And I just want to let you know I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope that you're finding this useful. And really I do. And if you are, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps this stuff get found more easily on YouTube. And if you haven't already, I'd really love it if you would subscribe. And then you'll be notified whenever new videos are coming out. And, why not tell your friends? They might find something of value as well. So this is going to take just a few minutes. And meanwhile, I'm going to open up the can of tomatoes. And I'm going to dump off a little bit of the juice that comes with them. I don't want this to be super juicy. But because there's going to be a lot of vegetables in here To absorb some of it, I'm going to leave some of the juice in the can. And then I think the tomato sauce will just help give it a nice, robust flavor overall. So we can let that open up while we're waiting. And if you're wondering, do I always chop up all my vegetables and stuff first? The answer is no, I don't always do that. Typically what I'd be doing is I would have chopped up the onion already, set the beef to saute, and then I'd be chopping the other vegetables while I was waiting for the beef and the onions to brown. That's what I would typically do. But because I am doing this on video, I didn't think it made much sense to have you guys watch me spend a lot of time chopping. And yes, you know, for a gourmet chef, there is absolutely an art to chopping, but for home cooks that just want to have a nice meal on the table, there's not too much of an art to it. The biggest thing you want to do, actually there is a bit of art in this perspective. The biggest thing you want to do is make sure that your vegetables are cut in a way that is going to have them turn out the level of crispness that you want. So for example, I want my carrots to be pretty crisp. They're actually bigger pieces than the celery. I want the celery to be fairly crisp, so that's bigger pieces than the bell peppers. The bell peppers are a little bit bigger than the onions. I hope that makes sense. But that's how I do it, just to kind of get the right kind of consistency and texture and tooth feel is what I'm really looking for. So we're going to go ahead and dump in the rest of those vegetables and then start adding in our seasonings. Yeah, as always, I mean, there is nothing super difficult about any of the stuff that I do, guys. And already it's looking good and smelling good. So I'm going to put in some garlic. And I want about 2 to 3 cloves of garlic in here. So when you're using granulated garlic, each quarter teaspoon equals a clove. So I'm going a little over a half a teaspoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon there, about like that. And I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of chili powder. By the way, I'm smelling it because I mixed the chili powder up quite a while ago, so I want to make sure it still smells pretty potent. I'm actually going to dump a little more in. So we've got plenty of that going on. And then I'm going to do about a good heavy teaspoon and a half or half a tablespoon of cumin. And you'll notice I don't really ever get measuring implements out. About the only time I use like measuring spoons and stuff like that is if I'm baking something that really needs to be more precise. But for the most part, you don't really need a whole lot of precision with this kind of stuff. So I'm going to mix this all in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in about a teaspoon of salt right now, just to start. Might need a little more when it's all done, but we'll taste it and find out. And then stir that up. And in case you're wondering, I did wash my hands before I started. I'm sure you're not wondering too much. Look at the beautiful colors we have there already. Doesn't that look good? Looks great to me. Smells great too. All right, okay, so we've cooked it down for 10 minutes. We've released the pressure. Let's open up the lid and see what's going on inside. So as you can see, we started off by just putting the tomato sauce stuff right on top. And let's give that a stir and then see what we wind up with. So I'm going to stir this up. Ooh, that's a little one. I'm going to stir this up and I'm going to give it a taste test and see if we need to add more salt and pepper or anything else. But I gotta tell you, it smells awesome. Love it when things smell great. And by the way, this is one of the reasons I actually shared this on Facebook today. This is one of the reasons I prefer the Instant Pot to a slow cooker, which is, in the Instant Pot, things happen really fast. In the slow cooker, I gotta smell whatever is cooking all day long. And that just makes me hungrier. So, let's give this a taste and see what we think. Okay, that's super yummy. I think it could maybe use a little more salt and pepper, but I don't want to run into the trap of overdoing it. So I'm going to let this just sit for a little while. I'm going to dish up a bowl for myself because I'm hungry. And the consistency looks perfect. The vegetables are done exactly the way that I want. So we got it right this time, 10 minutes on the pressure. Isn't that beautiful? I know I said it once, but I'll say it again. If you got something useful out of this video, and I really hope you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to share it with the friends that you think might get some value from this as well. We'll see you next time on What's Cooking. Thanks for watching.